Have you ever seen a 1-ton crocodile up close? How about swimming next to one on a paddleboard? Or maybe you know someone who crossed crocodile-infested waters using a motorboat. Speaking of which, the crocodiles of Indonesia are some of the scariest in the world. It's not the fact that they're really big or that they're really dangerous, but the sheer number of them. Take a look at this video, for example. While people usually come across 1 or 2 crocs at a time, a man making his way through a river came across hundreds of crocodiles. As you may have already heard, crocodiles are semi-aquatic creatures. Most of the time they live in lakes, rivers, and wetlands. But they can be found in saltwater as well. Now, from what we know about crocodiles, they're extremely social. That doesn't mean they form groups to hunt together like lions do, but it does mean that crocodiles will congregate in one section of a river or a lake with other members of their species to bask in the sun or feed. Well, this Indonesian man discovered precisely where a crocodile congregation was being held. Knowing that he could not stop or turn back since that'd be extremely dangerous, he had to keep going forward. He grabbed the motor of his boat and charged ahead. The crocodile started moving to the sides of the river, afraid of the loud noise the motorboat made. The man made it out of there alive, but had he stopped, those crocodiles would have ripped him to shreds. Next up, we have tripod. We don't mean a tripod like the one you use for your camera. We mean tripod like the name of a giant 80-year-old crocodile that weighs approximately a ton. Matt Wright has a pet crocodile that measures 17 feet in length. When you hear the croc snapping its jaw, that's not the force with which the croc slams his mouth shut. Contrary to popular belief, that's just air escaping from a crocodile's mouth. It's similar to you clapping with cupped hands. The clap's much louder, but doesn't indicate the power with which you clap your hands. It's the same thing here. That pop you hear is just an air bubble. That being said, crocodiles have the most powerful jaw of any animal on the planet. The maximum measured PSI of a crocodile's jaw is 3,700 pounds per square inch. Humans, on the other hand, have a bite force of only 200 PSI, and that's when you're trying to tear through a piece of meat. While crocodiles tend to eat about 5 pounds of meat per day, larger crocs have a much more efficient metabolism. They can go without food for up to a year. Seriously, in extreme situations when food is scarce, crocs can simply shut down their metabolism and begin consuming their own internal tissue until they find food. But as soon as they find food, they'll seep their 3,700 PSI jaw into it without even thinking. Similar to what Tripod did to that pig leg a few seconds ago. Steve Blackshaw from Supergiant Animals had a close encounter with a crocodile. In 2013, while filming the show, Steve and a camera crew dove to the bottom of a river trying to find a crocodile. The water was deep, so they had to look intently to spot the giant predator. While diving, they suddenly came dangerously close to the croc. Steve's a professional diver and was careful not to elevate his heart rate, as that would signal to the croc that the prey is fearful and it would send the predator his way. The crocodile was around 14 feet long, so it could easily take them down, especially underwater. Wanting to know how close he could get to this predator, Steve got close to his tail. That's when things went horribly wrong. The crocodile turned towards Steve and his crew, glanced at them, and then swam towards the water's surface. When it came back down, it began chasing the divers. They had to react quickly and get out of the water. Risking their lives, they quickly swam to the surface and got on the boat. That was without a doubt the most frightening experience I've had in my life, said Steve as he removed his diving mask. Gator tries to bite the woman's paddleboard. A woman from Central Florida went out paddleboarding and a large 12-foot gator approached her paddleboard and tried to bite the board. The woman was so close to the gator that she could push it away with her paddle. The woman escaped the first time, but the gator came back. The second time it tried biting her paddleboard again, but the woman swam away. Somebody's been feeding that gator. Makes them very dangerous, the woman said in the video. We don't know who's been feeding it, but we do know that crocodiles have some of the strongest stomach acids of the reptiles on the planet. It usually takes them 10 to 20 days to digest a large prey. If they don't do it within that time period, the gator will smash that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, if the food isn't digested, the gator will get sick because the food inside its stomach will begin putrefying. That's why to aid with digestion, crocodiles will consume small rocks. And now comes the gator fight. While gators can be ruthless predators, they're often extremely territorial. These two gators from Tampa, Florida, challenged each other on the golf course. It was the middle of the mating season, and these two males wanted to brawl it out for territory and mating rights. It happened on the Eagles golf course, and one of the regular golfers managed to capture the whole thing on camera. As the man walked closer, you could see one gator was holding the other gator by the top of the head and was attempting to perform the death roll. Luckily, he didn't have a good grip, so the other gator survived. They didn't seem to be aware there were people nearby. The people got so close they could almost touch the two battling behemoths. But instead of chasing the people, they were focused on winning the fight. During the numerous death rolls, the gators kept turning on their back. Near the end, before retreating into the water, one of the males managed to grab the other by the tail and spin it ferociously while retreating. Admitting defeat, the other gator backed off and the fight was over. A local man decided to go for a swim in a nearby lake. As soon as he entered the water, a giant crocodile came from behind him. The man tried swimming away, but the croc was much faster. These reptiles are good swimmers and can reach speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. As the crocodile lunged and tried biting the swimmer, the guy swam to the side and the predator missed. Luckily, the man was quick enough and he managed to swim to the shore and get out of the water. If he stayed in the water a couple of seconds longer, he might not have been so lucky. Next comes the amateur croc tamer. The guy with the white cap thought it'd be fun to try and see the giant crocodile that was lurking in the water. He got some chicken legs and went ankle deep into the lake. As soon as the crocodile sensed movement in the water, it came to the surface. You can see the man starting to retreat. If he missed just one step and fell in the water while retreating, that croc would have taken him down along with those chicken legs. Luckily, he managed to get out of there unscathed, all while his friends kept yelling at him to get out of the water. Let's not forget about the unlucky fisherman. This proud father decided to film his son's remarkable catch. Just as the boy was trying to reel in his big fish, a giant gator appeared. Before the father had time to warn his kid, the gator swooped in, grabbed the fish in his mouth, and swam away. Thankfully, the father managed to act quickly and cut the fishing line. Otherwise, this giant predator might have pulled the rod and probably even his son into the water had he resisted. The canned gator has to be one of the most exhilarating videos we've ever seen. A man from Florida noticed a gator roaming in the neighborhood. Not wanting to waste any time and risk the gator injuring any of the children in the neighborhood, he decided to capture the gator himself. Knowing the reptile would be too powerful for him, the man grabbed a trash can and cornered the gator until he got into the bend. Then, acting quickly, he pulled the trash can up, closed the lid, and carefully carried the gator to the nearby lake. Then he released the animal into the water by carefully putting down the trash can and lifting the lid. Not all heroes wear capes. YouTube thinks you should watch this video next.